Okay, so we're just waiting for the live stream to commence. Okay, there. I think it's live now. Hello, welcome, good evening to everyone who's here. Thank you very much for for joining us in our live stream this evening. This is Justin Capuchino of Sashes&Scripts, and today we're going to summarize and review the entire national pageant season, and let's talk about some of the things that made this season a very entertaining and certainly a remarkable one. I think that for this year, there is a certain level of improvement in our national pageants that if we compare it from last year, I think mas maganda yung nakita natin sa mga national pageants natin this year. So, before we start with the conversation, I want everyone first to leave a thumbs up dun sa ating live stream this evening, as well as join in yung ating poll for this topic. I have placed on the poll for this evening that will run throughout the entire live stream. I posed a question rather of which one of the four most popular national pageant systems here in the Philippines is the best in terms of overall production, in terms of quality of candidates, in terms of pre-pageant and post-pageant activities, etc. So I've pinned it on our chat box, so you can pick among the four options there. You have Binibining Pilipinas, you have Miss World Philippines, you have Miss Philippines Earth, and Miss Universe Philippines as your options on which one of the four pageants do you think is the best in terms of overall na glamour and prestige and entertainment among these pageants this year. Okay, so bukas po yung ating po until the end of our live stream, and then we will be tackling in depth a little bit later, point by point, yung mga criteria on which masasabi natin which among the national pageants have a better standing on, whether it's on the pre-pageant rather, the activities, the post-pageant activities, the preliminary competitions, the quality of candidates, and etc. Okay? So, once again, thank you very much sa mga nandito. I do hope that you leave a like in our live stream, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Ayan. So, bagong lahat, before we jump into our live stream, pagpasensyahan nyo na yung aking itsura ngayon because I just put on my nighttime na skincare routine, and it needs to breathe in muna, to seep in sa skin before I put on yung final na tawag nito na touches. So medyo, as you can see, it's my skin's a little bit reddish, a little bit oily because of the serums and the creams that I've put. So hindi siya nakakamat ng finish, kaya medyo makintab-kintab ang face natin ngayong gabi. But kinda tingling yung experience because I think it's working. Yung nighttime na tinatry natin na bago na skincare routine ngayon. So, yun lang, chika lang. And then, if anyone have noticed, it's the beginning of the Olympics earlier today, which is, I think, towards the evening na in Paris. Nag-start na yung opening ceremonies, and it ended with Celine Dion performing the song, I forgot the French title, but it's the hymn of love. That's essentially the literal translation of the French song that she sang. It's actually by Edith Piaf, and if I'm not mistaken, Josh Groban has a version of that song that Celine Dion sang during the finale of the Olympic opening. And I just wanted to say na with all of the bad juju that happened to Celine, I was very happy and emotional doon sa performance niya because when she was diagnosed with stiff person syndrome, which is a neurobiological na tawag ito na disease that attacks yung ability ng katawan natin to control our muscle. So which allowed Celine to have difficulty in singing, in controlling muscles sa kanyang buong katawan, including her throat. So she's not able to perform quite regularly as she had, because she needed, to go to therapy. She needed to go through medication and all of this stuff in order for her to rehabilitate her body. So I was very happy na she was able to pull off a full song doon sa Paris na Olympics. So I'm really quite, very emotional doon sa instance na yun, because it was, for me, it was like a long struggle for her, because before the Olympics, I actually watched yung kanyang biography. It's in Prime TV, and I was able to, to watch yung kanyang struggles, yung kanyang mga therapy sessions that was included in the documentary, and I was really very emotional with the struggles that she had. So I was, flabbergasted and, elated to see her singing once again, because for the most part, she said she mentioned in that documentary that her life has been always singing. So for me, it was really a winning moment, a triumph of, challenges, of physical challenges, and it was a triumph for, for the human spirit, to see her, struggle, but at the same time, deliver such a powerful and emotional na performance. So yon. Okay, so before we begin, thank you muna sa ating mga nandito ngayon. Vanessa Dancel, thank you very much for being here. Ping, thank you very much for always being the first one to comment in our live streams, and always encouraging everybody to leave a like and tawag ito, and subscribe to our channel. So I appreciate that very much. Maraming salamat. So Vanessa Dancel, sabi niya, good evening po sa atin. Happy weekend kahit nasa work po ako ngayon. Vanessa, I do hope na you'll be able to tawag ito, to replay na lang yung ating live stream if you needed to, to focus on your work later on. Ben Hernandez is here. Sabi niya, hey Sir Jess, watching live from Marikina. I do hope na medyo stable na yung water situation sa Marikina, because I've watched the news and I've been very worried dun sa mga kababayan natin na struggling because of the baha. I had, not only colleagues but also mga students na have been affected gravely because of this, flooding, and because of this typhoon Karina, who is strengthened because of the monsoon rains. And apparently, it was mentioned during the newscast that yung ulan niya, nahigitan pa niya yung bagyong Ondoy, which in 24 hours, several years back, brought down, a month or 2 months worth of rain in just 24 hours. So kung naghigitan ng ni bagyong Karina yon in this past, several days, I think we really need to rethink yung the way our public servants serve us in terms of public yung mga drainage systems natin, and yung kanilang trabaho on making sure that these things would not happen again. I think it's not up to the citizens rather, to do something about this, because we're already paying taxes. I believe there's a study that said that among the Southeast Asians, it's the Philippines that is paying more on taxes, but we don't see it being effective on our waterworks systems, on our transportation systems. So we really, kinakailangan natin kalampagin din yung mga tao sa gobyerno. I think that in that study, it mentioned that the Philippines is paying around 30 to 33% in terms of taxes, which is higher than Singapore, which I believe in that study mentioned it was only about 25 to 28% yung kanilang mga taxes. Even lower ang Thailand than us, but you can see naman yung kanilang mga tawag ito, yung kanilang mga infrastructures na mas maayos pa kaysa sa atin. So we really need to, to start raising our standards when it comes to public servants. Okay? So, ayun. Sorry. Medyo naano lang ako. Kasi naawa din ako dun sa mga students ko na 24 hours wala silang kuryente or wala silang internet. And I really feel that if I weren't, here in Cubao, kung hindi ako naswertehan na nandito sa Cubao at nandun ako sa mga areas like Marikina or parts of Quezon City na bahain talaga, I think it would have been worse on our case. At hindi tayo nakapag-live stream ngayon because inuuna muna yung paglilinis ng bahay and things that needs to be done in order for, for us to be able to work normally. Okay? So, I do hope that dun sa mga kababayan natin na nasalanta, I hope and pray that this would be something na kaya nating, kaya nating bumangon from. And I hope na our government mga officials and the people who are in the public sector, public service sector, would really do their jobs. So, yun. Sorry, pasensya na. Medyo na ano lang. Na-carried away lang. Okay, Maria Elena Teresa Terrarira is here. Sabi niya, Sawadee ka, watching from Bangkok. Hello and welcome to our channel. This is the first time that I've seen you comment on our channel. So, welcome. Okay, so, let's check out yung ating poll. There have been more than 14 votes so far. And, wow, all 14 votes is in favor of Binibining Pilipinas. Okay, so nice. I think this year talagang nagpasabog ang Binibining Pilipinas, and I would say that in terms of yung kanilang flex, they really flex yung kanilang supremacy this year. Okay, so let's talk. Now, I think siguro naman it's more than enough time to start na yung ating main topic. And the reason why I wanted to do this topic, it's because, one, when I did a poll on our YouTube channel, dun sa ating, sa IG channel, dun sa ating socials, mas maraming tao ang may gustong pag-usapan ang national pageant season as a wrap-up as compared to talk about the upcoming international pageant season. And I get that. I think there is a reason, there's a need for us to close down or rather summarize yung national pageant season and see the things that have been improved on from our national pageants, see the things that needs to be pushed up next year and tweaked a little bit so that it works better, as well as we kind of need to take a look on ano yung mga bagay-bagay that work this year na mas naka-engganyo sa atin to be engaged and to be participative in the national pageant season. Okay? So, usually, the national pageant season starts at around January, tail end of January, around February, and it culminates at around May. However, this year, we've seen a shake-up in terms of the schedules of the national pageant systems. We've seen Miss Philippines Earth at May, it was, I think, May 11 at the Talakag covered court in Bukidnon. Miss Universe Philippines is, of course, in MOA, as usual. They had their finals in May 22. Binibining Pilipinas had their finals at July 7. And then Miss World Philippines, their finals at MOA at July 19. So, medyo spread out into 2 months yung mga pageant systems natin this year. Traditionally, the pageant systems would schedule their finals at around April and May. Pero this year, parang na-stretch out masyado yung schedules. And I'm kinda on the fence on yung kanilang, how to say this, yung kanilang yung kanilang schedules kasi magkalayo pero magkadikit pa din. If you get what I mean. I think it would be more effective if the national pageant system would schedule on a certain month yung kanilang finals. Like for example, maybe we start Miss Philippines Earth at around April. And then we have Miss World Philippines at May. And then Miss Universe Philippines at hindi pala pwede ang Miss Universe Philippines at June kasi masyado siyang dikit naman sa Miss Supra. So maybe Miss Universe Philippines in April, Miss Philippines Earth at May, Miss World Philippines at around June, and then ang Binibining Pilipinas at July. I think for me, that would be a better schedule, a spread out na schedule ng mga pageant systems natin para hindi sila nag-aaway-away on coverage. Because this year, I was really very disheartened na halos wala akong marinig about Miss Philippines Earth because majority of the pageant pages have been dominated in terms of presence by the Miss Universe Philippines na competition. So maybe I am hoping that in the future, maybe next year, magkaroon ng one major pageant per month on the months of April, May, June, and July para magkaroon din ng breather yung mga tao when it comes to consuming pageant content. Because what happened here is that ang haba-haba ng mga pre-pageant activities ng mga ibang pageants, and then biglang sunod-sunod yung kanilang mga preliminaries and finals na competition on certain days of a certain month. So medyo the overlap is not helping to the other pageant systems to grow and have their own moment. I understand that because Binibining Pilipinas, they have their Miss International representative competing next year, and yung Binibining Pilipinas Globe compete at around October, November of this year. So meron silang enough gap in order for them to be able to have candidates train for their competition. So it makes sense na July sila pumapasok. For Miss Universe Philippines, on the other hand, I think if sa kanila pa din, dun sa pool pa rin ng Miss Universe Philippines, kokoronahan yung mga representatives natin for Miss Supranational and other minor pageants, I would think that their best bet in order for them to really have enough time to crown their MUPH and train her, their best bet is to have their competitions at around April or May. Wag na nating patagalin yung ginawa nila na umabot ng 4 na buwan yung kanilang competition because I think that was too much. It was also too much of a financial burden on their candidates because bawat activity nila, mamamasahe sila papunta sa venue, magpapa-makeup and all, sa kanila yung mga video shoots, photo shoots na inilalabas ng pageants, and then they have multiple mga different mga sponsor activities. So it's too much, I believe, on the finances of both the sponsors and the candidates themselves. And also, I think that it also helps that for Miss Universe Philippines to make their pre-pageant activities to maybe just 2 months. Para hindi naman sila masyado ganun ka-tight when it comes to their schedules. Na tipong some of the candidates might be, they need to work in order to sustain yung kanilang mga financial responsibilities sa mga mga private lives nila, as well as use yung kanilang mga works and jobs that they get in order to finance their pageant campaigns. So I understand that maybe for Miss Universe Philippines, isipin din nila yung ganong klaseng sakripisyo ng mga candidates. And for Miss Philippines Earth, I also think that there's a need for them na ikahon nila yung kanilang mga schedules on a certain month na hindi sumasagasa sa ibang mga pageant na mga pageant schedules ng ibang mas malalaking mga or mas popular na mga pageants because with MPE being a very niche na pageant, they really need to have the visibility that they needed in order for them to have a successful and visible na finals. Because what happened was gulat na lang karamihan tayo na oo nga pala ngayong gabi na pala yung finals ng Miss Philippines Earth, and we're not even very much aware with who are their candidates. So paano natin sila susuportahan if we have not been given ample time to get to know the candidates. So yon. In terms of the overall, overall schedules this year, I think that it would be much more effective kapag may specific na months for specific na pageant. I think that would help them in terms of visibility, in terms of making sure that they are dominating yung space ng mga pageant pages so that hindi nagkakaroon ng mga overlap. Ang nangyayari kasi ngayon, because there's so many national pageants that's ongoing simultaneously, some pageant na mga systems or mga smaller pageant systems rather, is not able to cope up or compete with bigger national pageants. So that is one of the things that I do hope na ma-address in the future. Now, in terms of the criteria na pag-uusapan natin, I think we need to focus on 4 main criterias, and these would be yung pre-pageant activities, yung quality ng pre-pageant activities, the quality of candidates this year, their finals, as well as their post-pageant activities. Because dito magkakasubukan kung sino talaga yung mga pageant systems na invested in terms of the development of their winners, in terms of the development of their overall na pageant systems. Kumbaga, kung ano yung investment nila to develop yung kanilang mga finals, to improve their production, improve their stage, improve their prize winnings, and etc. Okay? So, let's start first with the pageant activities. So, first things first. In terms of yung mga pageant activities, I believe that Binibining Pilipinas is the one that stands out in certain pageant activities because of the organization. What do I mean by that? When there are pageant activities by the Binibining Pilipinas candidates, they are always pulled into to a certain venue. Bago sila pumunta dun sa main venue, they are all called into the Araneta na area. So whether it's the Uniform Office or at the New Frontier Theater, there is always a space for them na dito tayo magmi-meet, and then there is a Binibining Pilipinas bus that will take them from point A to point B, from the venue back to the Araneta City na area. So yun yung kagandahan ng Binibining Pilipinas. It also allows them to be able to monitor the girls in terms of their punctuality, in terms of their attitude, kasi kung minsan may hintayan na nangyayari dyan. Definitely, we all know that the main winner is going to compete at Miss International. And one of the things that Miss International really values is promptness, punctuality. So, sa Binibining Pilipinas pa lang, lahat sa sala kung sino yung madalas na late, madalas na early bird, madalas na pasaway, madalas na on time. So, these are the things that I think is quite effective on the Binibining Pilipinas na tawag ito na area. However, there is also this criticism that the Binibining Pilipinas na mga candidates, most of their public na mga activities is within the Araneta City area. Now, I understand yung frustration ng mga ibang pageant fans na gusto naman nila na makapag-travel sa buong Pilipinas yung mga candidates. However, we also need to be reminded of that the main sponsor for the Binibining Pilipinas is the Araneta Group of Companies. And therefore, it makes sense that in order for them to maximize yung visibility ng Araneta City, doon nangyayari yung mga activities ng mga Binibining Pilipinas. So, that makes sense on a very business side na manner. And I don't think na anytime soon may magbabago dyan. There are mga out of town na mga shoots around Metro Manila or mga sponsor activities around Metro Manila kung nasaan man yung headquarters ng mga sponsors nila. But that is the extent of their travels. Dito naman nakakalamang ang Miss Universe Philippines where they do travel to different mga provinces here in the Philippines wherever there is a sponsor na brand or sponsor na province that would fly them in doon sa kanilang lugar. So, at one point, some of the candidates went to Boracay, to Sultan Kudarat, to Misamis, and I get that, that is an enriching experience for the candidates. However, there is also this downside to such kind of activities because napapagod din ng mga candidates. And not only that, it may also stress on their finances rather, because not all of them are based here in the Philippines with enough resources or enough connections that their resources are unlimited. There are some candidates who are based in the US that have to fly here and then spend 3 months, 4 months without a steady source of income na nahihirapan din silang mag-adjust kung saan sila kukuha ng mga pamasahin nila to their dun sa venue kung saan may may activity sila or saan yung lugar kung saan sila mag-photo shoot, etc. So these are things that puts a certain kind of stress on the finances of the candidates. And earlier this year, I posted yung disparity between the very expensive na pageant campaigns ng mga Miss Universe Philippines girls versus the Binibining Pilipinas girls. And makikita mo na nasa milyones talaga yung investment ng mga sumasali sa Miss Universe Philippines. And I think that is something na really needs to be addressed by the MUPH so that they don't put too much financial burden on their candidates and their associated na mga partners or affiliated na mga partners, because finances, especially right after the pandemic, is still a little bit on the shaky side. And next year, I believe, is an election year. And I am sure magsisilabasan ng mga mga politician ng pera for their campaigns, and they're going to utilize these platforms, especially pageantry, to boost their visibility. However, after next year, the year 2026, after the elections, maghihigpit na yung mga gumasta nung election year. So this is not a very smart na business model if you're going to look at it from that perspective. So I do hope na the organization would be mindful of that. Okay? Now, in terms of the length of exposure and pre-pageant activities ng mga candidates, I think MPE is one of those pageant systems na very organized and very compact yung kanilang mga schedule. So I really am very much in appreciation to the way that they do their pre-pageant activities, na it is really rooted to their core as a brand, to their advocacy for the environment. They really nail it. Yung kanilang mga pre-pageant activities, it is really on brand in terms of yung personality, in terms of yung mga activities na ginagawa nila. So kudos to that on the Miss Philippines Earth and Carousel for really being true to their nature, being true to their core. Kumbaga, kung ano yung brand essence nila about the environment and helping, being mindful on who they are as a brand, dun mo makikita talaga that this is a pageant that, although very niche, they are very true to their core. Ang tawag ito, ang kagandahan nun is that not only are they, They know kung ano yung mga pre-pageant activities that works for them, but they also are able to manage it so that hindi sila yung mag-overextend ng kanilang mga schedules. If you look at MPE, usually ang kanilang mga schedules is merong online and what do you call this, on mga challenges that are done on the online aspect, and then they have like 3 weeks to 4 weeks of on-site na mga activities. So it makes sense. Alam mo na kinakailangan nila pagtuunan yung mga online na mga challenges, at the same time meron silang on-site din na mga activities together. So it makes sense, it makes perfect synchronization that paghahandaan ng mga candidates yung mga online challenges na to, and then after that meron silang mga judging criteria that happens on site. So in terms of yung length, I appreciate yung ganung tawag ito, yung ganung system ng Miss Philippines Earth, because it allows the candidates ample time to prepare doon sa kung kinakailangan nilang magpapayat, kung kinakailangan nilang magpa-tone ng mga katawan, kinakailangan nilang magpaganda, yung ayusin yung kanilang mga skin, ayusin yung kanilang mga tawag ito, mga areas that they are weak on, whether it's pasarela, whether it's Q&A. So yung mga online na mga activities nila, yung mga in-between na mga instances, mga time that they are free, they can use that to improve themselves. So that makes perfect sense for them. So in terms of the pre-pageant activities, I think sobrang haba yung 4 months or almost 5 months ng MUPH. At the same time, sobrang iksi din naman yung around June, July na activities ng Miss World Philippines, tapos ang haba-haba nung lull in between ng kanilang application to their final screening. So, it kind of doesn't make sense na ang haba-haba nung kanilang screening na process, tapos they're not as competitive in terms of the quality of candidates that they get, dahil I feel that they're just waiting for mga latak galing MUPH or galing Binibining Pilipinas for their finals. So I do hope na this is something that the ALV Pageant Circle is able to address, that they start building more local na mga or provincial na mga franchises and partnerships in order for them to be able to get more quality candidates. Because if you look at their lineup this year, karamihan sa mga nanalo nila, it's either an alum of Miss Universe Philippines or an alum of Binibining Pilipinas. So I think in terms of the quality of the candidates that they get, dahil sa sobrang haba siguro nung application period nila, may mga nagba-back out din. So I hope that in the future that is something that they can really, grasp and address on, so that yung mga candidates na makuha nila is not just only perfect, or rather not only high in terms of quality ng beauty of face, intelligence, and physicality as well. So yon. Now, let's talk about the candidates, since nandun na rin lang naman tayo. I think in terms of the candidates, this year, I can honestly say that there is a lot of buzz on Miss Universe Philippines, because this is the batch where a huge number, there was a deluge of Binibining Pilipinas alums and Binibining Pilipinas former queens joining the pageant. So if you remove that, I think it would just be a so-so na group of candidates this year. Now, I know marami sa inyo magiging may konting sting yung statement na yon, but imagine this. You have Christy Fiani Hanson, you have Atisa Manalo, you have alums like Cyril, and nandun pa si Christy McGarry, nandun pa my God. Hala, na mental block ako bigla. shucks, there were at least 5 or 6 candidates. Si Selena Antonio nandun. And then Stacy Gabriel nandun. So there are at least 6 or 7 na mga alums ng Binibining Pilipinas that really brought noise into the pageant system this year, into the Miss Universe pageant system this year. So if you're going to compare the quality of candidates, definitely because they have already built up their following because of their participation at Binibining Pilipinas, mas may ingay na definitely yung MUPH this year. However, if you're going to look at the quality of candidates ng Binibining Pilipinas, a lot of them are actually very underrated. A lot of them are bringing something into the competition na hindi natin nakita before in other pageant systems, na umaasa na lang tayo doon sa mga repeaters this year, or repeaters crossovers, in order for pageant pages and pageant fans para mapag-usapan ang MUPH. That is not the case with Binibining Pilipinas, because a lot of them, if you look at the Binibining Pilipinas roster of candidates this year, majority of them are first-timers in the national pageant competition or fresh faces. And even the winners of this year's competition, karamihan sa kanila bago sa mata, or ngayon lang tayo na-introduce sa kanila. First time na sumali sa isang national competition ni Jasmine Bungay, as well as if I'm not mistaken, ni Mirna Esguerra, and then they ended up with the titles. Repeater ng Binibining Pilipinas, si Tricia Martinez, and Tala was a alum of a smaller, lesser known na national pageant system, yet still you see her at the Binibining Pilipinas roster. And then if you look at the semifinalists this year, karamihan sa kanila first timer, like Cara Villarosa, Shannon Manzano, and several other girls. So if you look at that from that perspective, Binibining Pilipinas candidates are underrated, but in terms of the quality of the candidates this year, you can say that hindi sila nagkulang, that they are still among the highest in terms of competitiveness. Hindi lang sila as popular, but that doesn't mean that they did not deliver during the preliminary competitions, during the preliminary mga national costume shows and press presentation ng mga areas of competition. So I think in terms of the quality of the candidates, hindi rin nalalayo ang Binibining Pilipinas in terms of quality. If not, it's a close second perhaps to that of the Miss Universe Philippines na pageant system. Ang tingin kong napag-iiwanan are actually si Miss Philippines Earth and si Miss World Philippines. Now, the advantage, however, of MWPH with MPE is that Miss World Philippines umaasa sa mga crossovers from other pageant systems. You would see, Diamante coming from her competition at MUPH, winning a crown at Miss World Philippines. You've seen several mga alums ng MUPH and Binibining Pilipinas winning crowns and titles at the MWPH na competition earlier this month. So, I think kinakailangan medyo maging mas agresibo pa yung dalawang pageant systems na ito, especially for Miss Philippines Earth, because I think they're the ones that, because their competitions is very, or rather their pageant is very niche, very how to say this? They're very, I forgot the term. Kumbaga, yung kanilang population is very small. Mas kokonti din yung mga quality candidates na nakahanap nila. So, I think that is, one of the things that they kind of need to address or need to tweak, need to polish on, dahil ito yung tawag ito, yung area na tingin ko nagiging kulelat sila dahil they have a very specific na need for, in terms of what they're looking for in terms of a winner. So because of that, I think they're the ones that are always on the lookout, that should always be on the lookout on new faces, new girls that is aligned with their ethos in terms of yung kanilang mga pool of candidates. So I think, you know, makakatulong din if the pageant fandom, the Earthlings would start scouting, encouraging mga girls, local girls from their, smaller communities, to, be more engaged with the pageant. Na sana bago sila tumawid dun sa mga larger na mga pageants, try muna nila yung kanilang luck with Miss Philippines Earth. So, I do hope that in the future, this is something na ma-address ng tawag ito, ng carousel. They have, a lot of partnerships, local partnerships, fortunately for MTE. It's just that siguro mas kailangan hasain in terms of yung presentation, in terms of visuals, dun sa mga candidates na meron sila. And I also hope that in the future, they would allow candidates, to be more exposed to the media para mas mabigyan sila ng pagkakataon na makatawag ito, ma-promote yung mga candidates nila. That way, it will help, on visibility. Kasi yun yung sa tingin ko, kulang na kulang ang mga candidates ng Miss Philippines Earth this year. And I am quite shocked because even if in my busy schedule, I'm still able to create mga contents for Miss Universe Philippines, Miss World Philippines, Binibining Pilipinas. Pero with MPE, talagang hirap akong maghanap ng mga materials on their candidates. So I hope in the future this is something that can be addressed. I hope that in the future this is something na mapulido ng Miss Philippines Earth. Now, before siguro before we continue with our discussion, laktaw muna tayo and check out our comment section. Okay? Let's look at our poll kasi right now, wow. Miss World Philippines and Miss Philippines Earth has 3% each. Miss Universe Philippines only has 8%. And the overwhelming majority believe that the best national pageant in the Philippines for 2024 is Binibining Pilipinas with an overwhelming 87%. So there. Let's check muna yung mga comments. Yes, I think marami kayong gustong sabihin, and let's start first with Vanessa. No, hindi si Vanessa. Vanessa, pasensya na. We ended up with Ben and Vanessa, and si Carlo Agovida says, Binibining Pilipinas is still the queen of all pageants in the Philippines and in Asia. I believe it was mentioned during the finals of Binibining Pilipinas that Binibining Pilipinas is the longest running national pageant, not only in the Philippines, but in the whole of Asia. So, it makes sense yung comment mo. Vanessa Dancel says, to be honest, mas active ang mga Binibining Pilipinas Queens 2024, lalo na sa mga charity works nila. I agree because right now, instead of mga pictorial ang nilalabas ng Binibining Pilipinas of the girls, ang madalas na content ng Binibining Pilipinas IG and Facebook pages is their media na tours, and as of late, yung kanilang mga charity works, especially with the ABS-CBN Foundation that they recently did. I think it was a couple of days back, where they distributed drinking water for communities affected by the Typhoon Karina. Okay, Papa Turon says, okay, by the way, there's more. Mutya ng Pilipinas, Miss Cosmo World Philippines, Hiyas ng Pilipinas, Miss Silka, etc. Super dami na nila umay. Papa Turon, the thing kasi with national pageant seasons is that hindi sila, how to say this, they don't align yung kanilang schedules na sumagasa doon sa apat na pinakamalalaking national pageants. If you noticed, karamihan sa kanila, they do their pageant finals after the Big Four, kumbaga, ng Philippines, the Alpha Four of the Philippines. Dahil yung kanilang mga pageant na mga mas maliliit, hindi kayang makipagkumpetensya with the muscle of these bigger and more established, long established na mga pageants like Binibining Pilipinas, Miss World Philippines, and Miss Philippines Earth. Mutya ng Pilipinas, on the other hand, has been very irregular dun sa kanilang pageant schedule. Sometimes September, sometimes August, sometimes July, that it kind of is a little bit confusing na. Fortunately, we're hoping that because of Miss Cory Corino is there as head, mas mabibigyan niya ng more consistent na mga dates ang mutya ng Pilipinas, so that it will, reclaim its former glory. Because before MWPH, MUPH, and Miss Philippines Earth, mutya ng Pilipinas and Binibining Pilipinas are the two most prestigious national pageants in the Philippines. Sa dami nga nila, I agree na nakakaumay, but we also need to support some of these pageants. Okay? Unfortunately, they also need to understand that they need to be more competitive. Okay? JD Sarmento says, I believe Miss Philippines Earth should do an overall recalibration of their brand. They're drastically lagging behind for years. I really do not know the reason why the MPE is not as visible as before. Wait. Mr. Warning says, too many titles at this point. Tag-isa-isa na ang crowns ang mga ang mga contestants. I kind of agree because there's a lot of pageant systems nowadays. Okay, Trisha Legacion says, I'm touched Binibining Pilipinas was hazed after the Typhoon Habagat. We all have different ways to help, such as raising awareness, raising funds, and sending goods, but BPCI, walang kaabog-abog, tulong agad. I agree. Because right after the typhoon, nandun ka agad yung all four winners nila with ABS-CBN Foundation distributing, relief goods. So, I'm kind of impressed with that. Samantalang yung ibang mga pageant systems, yung mga winners ng MUPH, ng Miss World Philippines, hanggang awareness pa lang yung kanilang nagagawa at this point. There are not yet like actual physical na mga donations na nangyayari doon sa on-site na relief goods. And I do hope that in the following mga weeks and days makita din natin sila ng mga ganong klaseng mga activities, because I think it really helps not only the brand, but also it helps doon sa mga winners na nakikita sila na doing something, something that is relevant and something that is, charitable and philanthropic during these times na it's really very trying. Okay? Wait. Nasaan na ba to? Okay, so continuing doon sa comment ni Trisha, sabi niya, it's also quite sad and annoying lang na some people take advantage of unfortunate times for money business. MWP, ALV made announcements, and even queens like Roberta's name was used for fraudulent activity. Hindi natin maaalis yan na during times of calamities may mga nananamantala. So let us also do our due diligence in terms of when, who, and where are we contributing money for charitable causes. Kasi hindi lahat ng mga, sorry about this, ang kulit naman nitong notification ng tawag nito ng phone ko. Okay, sorry about that. Hindi natin, as I said, hindi natin maaalis that may mga nananamantala talaga. And we also need to do our work, our due diligence in making sure that the charity, the money, the resources that that we provide and give doon sa mga nasalanta, napupunta doon sa mga reputable din na mga tao ito, na mga charitable organizations. Okay? So, hindi yung bigay ka na lang ng bigay without actually looking at kanino mo binibigay at are these reputable na mga tawag ito, na mga organizations o mga tao, at napupunta talaga dun sa intended na mga tao yung mga donations na ibinibigay natin. Okay? Wait, naasa na ba yung comments? Si Vanessa, sabi niya, tapos yung mga 2024 Binibining Pilipinas Queens active sa pagpo-post sa socials nila, lalo na doon sa pag-donate and doon sa doon sa volunteer work nila sa ABS-CBN Foundation. Okay? Trisha also mentioned Alexandra Rosales na MUP Laguna is also a Binibining Pilipinas alum. So it kind of makes sense na mas maingay in terms of the quality of candidates talaga ang MUPH because galing sila sa Binibining Pilipinas. Had none of these girls won or participated at Binibining Pilipinas at new faces sila, baka walang masyadong emotional investment ng mga fans dito sa mga new faces na to. Unlike in Binibining Pilipinas na nabibuild talaga yung portfolio of candidates and following ng mga candidates because of the strength of the Binibining Pilipinas brand. Okay? AJC says, the most concerned is the very long pageant proper, which is both MUP and MWP that ended at 2 a.m. MUP excessive intermission and commercial on live stream. Should it be a concern? Okay, sige, let's tumawid na tayo doon sa conversation natin about the finals. Kasi ito naman talaga yung tinitignan ng karamihan ng fans as the barometer of how a pageant system is successful. Now, unahin natin sa stage and production. In terms of stage design, I think for me, I would give the first place to MUPH. Not because of the design is original. We've seen such design, yung curved na LED at Miss Universe Thailand, at Miss Universe in El Salvador. So it's not something new, but it's the execution that makes it look very cool, kumbaga. However, in terms of novelty of idea, I think Binibining Pilipinas takes the stage with their seemingly floating na mga LED na mga panels. Imagine that yung mga squares na nakikita natin doon sa doon sa stage ng Binibining Pilipinas, hindi lahat sila hindi lahat sila mukhang nakamount on stage. Mukha silang nakamount from the ceiling. And it takes, a very smart, ingenious, and creative na production team to be able to conceptualize that kind of very technical na stage design. It is a massive stage that took maybe at least 1/4 to around 1/3 of the entire Araneta Coliseum na space. Kaya makita mo na yung stage nila is ang haba ang haba nung side extensions, because that stage was designed to mimic the shape of a crown. Kaya very much kudos to the Aika Productions for doing such very intricate and very technically difficult na stage design. And imagine this also, if we compare yung stage design ng press presentation ng Binibining Pilipinas with that of Miss Universe Philippines this year, di hamak na mas grande yung Binibining Pilipinas because the Miss Universe Philippines na preliminary stage was very small. Hindi makapag-rampa ng maayos yung mga candidates, unlike in Binibining Pilipinas na press presentation where you are given like a see-through na LED stage where you can see the candidates in a two-tier na level na backdrop that is reminiscent of the Miss Universe 2007 na stage. But this time, much more involved yung technology of a see-through na background. On the other hand, very flat man yung stage ng Miss Philippines Earth, but they are able to utilize such expansive width to give enough space for the candidates there. Ang medyo lang hindi ako ganon ka-impressed is the Miss World Philippines stage because it kind of reminds me of the Binibining Pilipinas 2015 or 2016 na stage where yung scenery, yung backdrop is very similar. So in terms of originality, I find it like I've seen this before at Binibining Pilipinas, so I'm not as wowed as compared to the stage of BBP or MUPH this year. Okay, so in terms of stage and production, I think I'm going to give the stage for Binibining for Miss Universe Philippines, while the production I'm going to give it with Binibining Pilipinas because they are able to invite really strong performers, strong hosts who can deliver. Walang dull moment during the Binibining Pilipinas na hosting. Even yung mga in-between na mga banter ng mga hosts, considering that some of them are probably meeting for the first time or working together for the first time, like Rufa and Nicole Cordoves, pero yung kanilang banter has been very fluid and the chemistry is there. So I think in terms of yung overall na production, di hamak na nangingibabaw ang Binibining Pilipinas. However, I would like to give Miss Philippines Earth a special points for their opening number and their outfits because yung kanilang mga manobo na mga outfits ng mga candidates during the opening number was something of a novelty for me. It's something that I haven't seen in most national pageants before, and I do hope na maybe in the future we could do something similar to that, especially when we want to push culture and tradition, especially now that pageants is a reflection of that. Okay, now in terms of the entertainment factor, di hamak, Binibining Pilipinas is really the barometer for that because there was no lull moment. Bawat segment it makes sense. Hindi yung ang haba-haba ng mga lull in between. There are times that I felt that for Miss Universe Philippines, it was just a show na panay commercial para kumita sila. It felt as if it was a commercial show, a show of commercials with pageants in between, interspersed in between. There are a lot of moments na kung i-compress mo sila, siguro nasa 2-hour mark lang talaga yung kanilang pageant. Unlike with Binibining Pilipinas na ang matagal is yung breaks in between, not necessarily yung mga segments. So, it kind of makes sense that when it comes to yung entertainment na factor, Binibining Pilipinas is way ahead among all the national pageant systems this year. Now, post-pageant activities. Let's talk about post-pageant activities because right now, the one that you're seeing, the one that you're quite noticing that is visible online and on-site are the Binibining Pilipinas girls. You can see yung mga ginagawa ng mga winners in terms of their charity works with World Vision Philippines and with the ABS-CBN Foundation, yung mga yung mga media na tours nila, and it is quite a balanced of activity that is media related but at the same time charity related. And I think dun talaga nakakapuntos yung Binibining Pilipinas in terms of visibility for their winners. Now, I know it hasn't been part of the criteria, but I also think that we also need to look at the newness that is introduced this year. So first and foremost, let's talk about the crowns. Now, with the Miss Universe Philippines crowns, huwag na natin pag-usapan yung issue ng tawag ito, mga copycat crowns ng MUPA, ng Miss Universe Philippines and the Miss Philippines na pageant. Let's leave that in the past. Kasi wala na rin naman na tayong mauungkat na panibago dyan. They've always been problematic. And hindi na nagbago yon. Okay? So, let's just focus on the crowns at this point. In terms of the crowns, bago yung mga crowns ng Miss Universe, ng Binibining Pilipinas at ng Miss World Philippines. And a lot of you have had some polarized opinions with the new crowns ng Miss World Philippines. For me, I think the crown is just a little bit too tall. Siguro kung bawasan ang height, it would look more queenly. I know that a lot of you are referencing, the DIC French fry crown ng Miss Universe that was used in 2014, 2016. But I don't see yung similarity. Maybe perhaps doon sa very squarish na use ng tawag ito ng design elements doon sa crown, but the way that it's arranged is quite different. However, because of the very angular na tawag ito na way that the crowns are designed, hindi nakakababae. It's not very feminine looking. That's my only contention with the Miss World Philippines na crown. I like the fact that it's made out of pearls, it's using yellow gold, and it's using the blue-colored stones that is reminiscent of the Miss World na mga crowns. However, I find it still a little bit disassociated with the branding of the Miss World Philippines as a whole. However, who knows? Maybe this kind of crown will grow on us in the future, much like what happened with the DIC crown. Sa umpisa, may pushback tayo na marami na pangitan sa DIC crowns ng Miss Universe, but later on, unti-unti naman na we warmed up with it. Now, the Binibining Pilipinas crowns are created by Manny Halasan, while the Miss World Philippines crown is done by Orachina Jewelry. So, this year, yung Binibining Philippines International Crown is created to make it look similar in design with the Binibining Pilipinas crown logo. The logo that, the crown in their traditional logo from the 1990s pa, if I'm not mistaken. Kasi nung 1980s, it was a different na logo. I think it's yung traditional na tawag nito na concave na mga crowns yung nakalagay na sa logo nila. So I was glad that yung crown ng Binibining Pilipinas International this year is mimicking yung design ng logo. However, if you look at the crown, it actually is a little bit more three-dimensional than that. If you look at yung mga traditional mga crowns, it's just a flat band na tawag ito na paikot yung design. However, if you look at the Binibining Pilipinas International na crown, aside from the first layer na half, parang half moon yung disenyo, there is a three-dimensional na tawag ito na parang sun and stars na mga tawag ito, mga elements na nakapatong doon sa mismong base ng crown. So that makes it a little bit more tawag ito, a little bit more visually mas may depth yung texture, visual texture ng corona. And this is also the reason why hindi mo siya basta-bastang pwedeng i-vector in yung logo, yung crown, because ang dami niyang intricate na mga elements in between doon sa buong kabuuan ng corona. And that is why if you tawag ito, if you touch it and weigh it down, may kabigatan. There is, heftiness doon sa mismong crown ng Binibining Pilipinas International. The Binibining Pilipinas globe is a little bit lighter compared to the BBP International na crown, pero hindi masyado nagkakaiba, nagkakalayo yung weight nila. So, in terms of the newness of the crowns, there are a lot of people who are commenting na mukha siyang imperialist, czar imperialist ng Russia, yung crown ng Binibining Pilipinas International this year. It actually, from afar, if you look at it, it actually is shaped like the traditional kokoshnik na headpiece ng headpiece ng mga Russians. And if I'm not mistaken, Queen Elizabeth, or was it Queen Alexandra? But in the I think in the 1800s or earliest 1900s, there is this tiara that is named the Kokoshnik tiara ng tawag ito ng Tsarina ng Russia that was bought by the British na royalty, ng British na royal family, and yung shape niya is kind of similar doon sa doon sa shape ng Binibining Pilipinas International na crown. So that is why I think a lot of you kind of think na may pagka Russian imperialist crown yung dating nung bagong Binibining Pilipinas International na crown. Now, looking at the crowns naman ng Miss Universe Philippines and ng Miss Philippines Earth, I kind of agree with some of the sentiments that the Arnel Papa crown ng NPE needs to be updated or needs to be replaced. I've seen the crown and I've seen it, I've touched it, I've experienced it in reality, and it has a timeless quality to it. That is something that was never questioned. However, I think it's time to retire the crown and create a new one that is aligned as well doon sa bagong crowns na ginawa ng Long Beach Pearl ng Vietnam for Miss Earth. Just so that it is more aligned with the new crowns. Okay? But they can skirt yung changing ng crowns if they do some updates lang on the crown itself. So I'm not sure kung they can repurpose yung metals, yung mga crystals na ginamit doon sa Miss Philippines Earth to craft a new one. But in the spirit of the pageant's advocacy, I hope that they do that they recycle elements and materials from the Arnel Papa na crown into a new one. Now, I have observed this for the Majest. I forgot the name of the Miss Universe Philippines crown. I do hope some of you would comment that in the comment section kung ano yung title nung pangalan nung nung MUPH na crown, because when me and Mark were discussing, nabanggit niya sa akin na the jewel myrrh na MUPH crown is starting to look a little bit dated. Yes, it's Majest. I know, Vanessa, pero ang alam ko dalawa yung pangalan niya eh. I'm not just sure kung ano yung una o yung pangalawa, but the term Majest is part of the tawag ito, La Mer, Majest La Mer or La Mer Majest, La Mer and Majest crown. Ayun, thank you Vanessa Dansom for correcting that. Because when Mark mentioned to me na he started to find the La Mer and Majest na crown to start looking like it's dated. I kind of agree with that because it kind of reminds me of yung gold and diamante na crystal na mga crowns ng binibining Pilipinas in the 1980s up until I think 1994. That anything that is purely gold can look quite dated. And madali siyang madali siyang magmukhang luma. And this is also the reason why most silver and diamond na mga crowns tend to look more classic because of yung timelessness ng white. And this is something that I'm having thoughts on when it comes to the crown ng Miss Universe Philippines because in the next 2-3 years it would look dated. Yun yung nakikita ko with the Jewel Myrna crown. So I do hope na they do something to make it to make it a little bit more long lasting yung look niya because an all gold na crown would easily look dated because of because mananawa yung mga mata ng mga taong tumitingin doon sa pagkadilaw ng crown. Maybe if it was in white, yung base niya is in white gold tapos with the South Sea pearls na golden South Sea pearls na mga pearls, baka it would look more more timeless in my opinion. Okay? So there. Now I know that this is something that is not part of the criteria, but I also wanted to give a little bit nod on the cash prizes ng mga winners kasi nung pinanood ko yung mga yung mga national pageants this year, I distinctly remember only Binibining Pilipinas was able to give a sum, announcement on the prizes that the runners-up and the main winners are going to have. All other pageant systems, walang sinabing monetary value doon sa cash prize na mapapanalunan nila. I remember in MWP that they mentioned something about a equivalent na amount ng scholarship or ng contract that the winners will get from Viva, from Regal or something na mga films. But that for me is monetary na it's not a cash prize, kumbaga. Hindi siya physical na pera na ma-receive ng mga winners. Unlike in Binibining Pilipinas na both si Globe at saka si International makaka-receive ng 1,000,000. So that for me kinda cements why Binibining Pilipinas among all the 4 pageants this year is the best na pageant system in the Philippines. Kasi not only are they able to be competitive in terms of their candidates, in terms of their pre-pageant activities, in terms of their production, stage design, and entertainment factor ng kanilang finals with the rest of the other national competitions this year, but the mere fact that they are the only pageant system in the Philippines that is televised and that has announced the award, the cash prize that will be awarded to the winners, tells me that sila may kakayahan na i-fund yung kanilang pageant system, yung kanilang pageants nang hindi pumipikit sa presyo. So it does, if you're going to evaluate pageant as a business entity, you would love that. Kasi alam mong hindi mauubusan ng pera itong organization na to. So, in terms of the overall na tawag ito na judgment on a personal note, I would think that among all the pageants this year, Binibining Pilipinas is the one that has really flexed yung kanilang supremacy, the one that, lived up to the expectations as compared to other pageant systems this year sa Pilipinas. I don't think that NUPH could hold even a candle doon sa capacity ng Binibining Pilipinas to mount a national pageant. And siguro it's not just it's not blind loyalty to point out all of this, mga points kung saan pumupuntos ang Binibining Pilipinas in terms of visibility, post-crowning visibility of the winners, cash prizes, etc. But the mere fact that hanggang ngayon, pinag-uusapan pa din at nagte-trending yung mga Binibining Pilipinas content on any platform tells me that nayanig ng Binibining Pilipinas ang pageant fandom psyche nating lahat. And I do believe that in the years to come, Binibining Pilipinas is still going to be the standard that other national pageant systems are going to live up to. So I do hope na yung mga detractors ng Binibining Pilipinas, detractors that are saying that, it's the pageant franchise that matters, etc. It doesn't make sense because ultimately, what you want to look at is yung longevity ng pageant. What's the point of having a pageant na nandito ngayon pero bukas makawala, mawawala? Ang pageant franchises, based on our collective experience over the past 15 years, umiikot. So, there will come a time that maybe MUPH or Miss World Philippines will go back to Binibining Pilipinas at some other pageant systems will take away some of the existing pageant franchises ng different na mga pageant systems na ito. Who knows, maybe in the future ang Miss Philippines Earth magme-merge with other pageant systems. So hindi natin masasabi yung kasiguruhan na ang mga pageant franchises mag-i-stay doon sa organization that currently handles them. So, I do hope na in the future, yung mga detractors na nagsasabi na it's the franchises that makes the pageant system alive, it's not. It's actually the organization and the way that they package their candidates, the way that they handle their franchises, the way that they explode yung kanilang mga yung kanilang mga finals, the way that they mount their pageant competitions is what makes a pageant prestigious. It's the longevity, it's the business acumen, all of these combined together, you would know that Binibining Pilipinas is still leaps and bounds ahead of its closest competitor. Distant second na lang siguro yung mga ibang pageant systems like MUPH, MWPH, and NPE compared to BBP. Okay? So, now, let's go back dun sa mga comment section before we wrap up yung ating conversation this evening. Nasaan na ba tayo? Okay, Trisha. Sabi ni Trisha, wait. We ended up with AJC. Sorry, Trisha. Hindi pala sa'yo nag-end yung ating conversation. Sabi ni AJC, yung MUPH, ang daming excessive na intermission and commercial on the live stream, and shouldn't it be a concern? I don't think so. Kailangan din kasi I understand that they have a lot of these commercials because they also probably need to give them airtime based on the amount of the sponsor investment to MUPH. So naiintindihan ko rin na siguro kailangan din talaga kumita ng MUPH. Okay? Junkie is here. Sabi niya, hello sir, nakahabol from Copenhagen for vacation. Grabe ka, travel junkie ha. Parang kailan lang, nasa Dubai, nasa kung saan-saan ka. Okay, sabi niya, I still prefer BBP and MPE. BBP, no question. Gold standard for beauty pageants. MPE, I agree with you, but they are trying this past 2 years. I know yung struggle ng MPE because it's a very niche na pageant. And I think there are a lot of opportunities of growth, especially with with the Gen Zers. I think the pageant should market itself not towards the millennials and boomers, but more onto the Gen Zers. Make it young, repackage the brand that is more attuned and aligned to the younger market in order for them to attract more stronger siguro na mga candidates in the future. Okay? Rodvin Fial is asking, Sir, anyari na pala sa Hiyasang Pilipinas? Okay, Hiyasang Pilipinas, there will still be mounting their competition, if I'm not mistaken. There is a press conference tomorrow that I am invited to, thankfully, and I will be going there to cover. So, we will be hearing mga news and updates on their plans for Hiyas ng Pilipinas. And I do hope na tawag ito na antabayanan ninyo yung mga news at yung mga balibalita, yung mga updates na mangyayari on Hiyas ng Pilipinas. Okay? Vanessa Dancel is asking is commenting here. Sabi niya, just a curious follower here. Ask ko lang, pwedeng mag-shoe sponsor si Bragais sa MWPH at MPE. Pero sa BBP, hindi siya pwede mag-sponsor dahil may contract ito sa MUPH. Okay. This is Chichi territory. Okay? Delikado to. Okay. Sige. Again, this is Chichi territory. I'm not gonna say that this is, 100% na true. I'm not gonna say na confirmed ito or something. But on the first 2 years ng MUPH, may mga kwentong umaligid. There are mga stories from friends in the advertising industry that was saying na some of the sponsors na tumawid sa MUPH were asked to sign in their contracts na they should be exclusive to MUPH. And they cannot sponsor other pageant systems like BBP or MWP or other, pageant systems. And I heard that this was the case for, some sponsors. But after a year or two naman, nakita ko naman na ang cream soap bumalik din naman sa Binibining Pilipinas. Nagkaroon pa rin naman sila ng sponsorship sa Binibining Pilipinas and some other mga brands. So I am not so sure, the truth and validity in that. Now, with regards to with regards to Jojo and the Bragais na brand, dinig ko din na yung Marie Queen is actually a sub-brand under the Bragais na tawag ito, under the Bragais na tawag ito na ownership. I cannot ask this kay Jojo clearly kasi definitely may mga NDA yung mga yan. And ayoko din naman na ikasira ng kabuhayan nila to confirm and to make public if there are mga agreements na ganito. So, if hindi mamatay-matay yung chismis na it is still under the umbrella of Jojo Bragais, then maybe we just leave it at that. Maybe we just, focus on Marie Queen as the official shoe provider ng Binibining Pilipinas. So, so that perhaps Jojo can spread yung kanyang Bragais na tawag ito na brand on MWP, MPE, and MUP. So, para hindi lang magkaroon ng issue if ever. And I think that's also a good business decision that if gusto niya na, tawag ito, gusto niya na mag-sponsor sa Binibining Pilipinas and cannot do it with, with Bragais, why not create a different brand under a different name? And and sponsor Binibining Pilipinas using that brand name, and exclusive sa Binibining Pilipinas yung Mary Queen. So whichever is the truth with these chismis, I do hope that we kind of support na lang these local brands, because ultimately din naman these brands are doing such in order to to survive. Okay? So hanggang doon na lang sasabihin ko para hindi na tayo magkaroon ng issue if ever. Okay? Sabi ni Dansam, Nicole and Rufa ay nagkasama na yata sa Showtime Surges. Okay, Dansam, that's good if they had nagkasama na sila even for a short while, kasi it shows that they have chemistry during the hosting of Binibining Pilipinas. And I do hope na in the future, magkaroon ng rotation din sa mga sa mga hosts, in the way that they do the hosting ng Binibining Pilipinas, like maybe in the future a pairing between Rufa and Catriona, and then a pairing between Kylie and MJ, for example, or maybe Kylie and and Rufa. So magkaroon din naman ng ng rotation. And I also hope that maybe in the future makuha din natin si Charlene Gonzalez to host, because I would like to see a Rufa and Charlene tandem in hosting Binibining Pilipinas, and then another segment where it's the trio of, let's say, Nicole, MJ, and Kylie. Diba? Para baklain din naman nila si Kylie. Kasi I think Kylie is very serious in the way that she delivers her hosting. Very professional. Clean, professional, on the point. Samantalang si MJ adds a little bit of fun. A little bit of gayness into the way that she hosts. Kuha ni MJ yung pink market. That is clear. And having a rotation between these girls probably would benefit the pageant. So, yun. Vanessa Dancel says, tapos ang ganda ng mga memes ni Sheila Stimosa. Lalo na yung first evening gown niya, na same design ng national costume niya. Tapos yung 500 hirit niya sa Beauty Derm. And even Beauty Derm, reposted that on their socials. Camila Gomez says, I watched MWP live and it was well thought of. Kahit madaling araw na natapos, di boring. Compared sa MUP na puro voting during gaps. MWP stage from the Manila Skyline, Escolta, and the Philippine Philharmonic Orchestra. Okay, yan, kokoti na lang ang comments. Huy, kakaloka si Dan Sama, sabi niya, yung iba may prize ba? Ha. Okay, ayoko na lang mag-comment dyan. Baka malibel tayo or malosot tayo dyan. Hintayin na lang natin na sila ang magsabi kung meron. Okay, Ben Hernandez says, BPSI remains having the live primetime telecast slot. Oh, speaking of that, there was this mention on a post on Binibining Pilipinas on my feed. I'm not sure if it's on Facebook or Instagram. I think it was on Facebook. That says na kulelat naman ng Binibining Pilipinas when it comes to the numbers that they have on YouTube. I just wanted to clear that up because, of course, there will be lesser number of people watching on YouTube when the pageant is available on television. So let's not, delude ourselves and think that porque nakaganitong milyon na yung isang pageant system because it was on that platform, online, yun lang yung available na avenue for watching that as compared to Binibining Pilipinas that has 4 or 5 networks that it is simultaneously broadcast prime time live, um, tells us that in terms of visibility, of course, mas maraming manonood pa rin na traditional na mga Filipino families on the television. And if there is, one television per household, with one household having an average of 3 to 4 persons, you can tell na kahit na 1 million lang na households ang nanood ng tawag ito ng Binibining Pilipinas, multiply that by a factor of the average number of people inside that household, which is 3 to 4, would tell you na maybe in one broadcast station, pwedeng 2 million to 3 million ang nanood. Sa ibang broadcast na stations, sa PTV5, sa A2Z, sa Metro Channel, if they got at least 2 million views each, then you would have a number of 8 million, 7 million, 6 million na viewers on the live telecast. So, it's not an apple-to-apple comparison. Kasi if you're only looking at the numbers on YouTube or on social media, then it's not an apple-to-apple comparison because one pageant system is only broadcasted via a social media platform, while one pageant system is being broadcasted in 5 different national syndicated na broadcast stations, as well as social media. Meron pang Facebook. So, of course, if you add them all up, dun mo makikita kung sino yung pageant that has more viewership. Okay? Ben Hernandez continues that all other local pageants are either delayed and during the daytime. Now, Vanessa Dancel says, ano kayang masasabi ng ibang tao na ang Binibining Pilipinas is a dying brand? I don't know. I've already discussed this, this topic previously, if whether or not Binibining Pilipinas is dying. And I've presented evidences na it's not. It's actually thriving. And having looked at the finals na Coronation Night, you would know na who says BBP is dying, di ba? Papa Turon says, mag-appoint na lang ba ang Mutya for Intercon? Mauna pa ata ang Intercon sa Mutya. If the chismis are to be believed, Mutya is gonna have their pageant this September. So, baka ang tawag ito, ang Miss Intercon is on October. So, let's just wait na lang siguro for the final announcement ng Mutya. Kasi if ever na magkaroon sila ng pageant and it's very close to the international competition, then they would probably need to crown a girl that is ready to compete internationally. Okay? Nasa na yun? Grabe rin, no, yung major award. Sabi ni Dansam, grabe din, no, yung major award sa BBP at MWP sa main winners, Mirna and Krishna. Yung sa MUPH, hanggang ngayon, tinatabulate pa? Question mark. Daniel P. Yuzon is here. Hello, Daniel. Good evening, sabi niya. Medyo na late ang slide, but I am here. Your presence is nonetheless welcome. Dansam says, and that makes Madam Pia Ojeda Rojas, actually it's Pia Rojas Ojeda, a great addition to the Binibining Pilipinas Execom, a new blood for the Execom, and just very receptive to, to suggestions. So, I do hope na more and more people would be more creative and bring something new to the table, especially now that I think across the board, from Binibining Pilipinas to Miss Philippines Earth, lahat sila nag-elevate up. Okay. Then Hernandez, sabi niya, Charlene hosted in BBP in 2002, Rufa hosted in 1999. I want them tandem together kasi they were the two of the most visible na mga beauty queens in the 90s aside from Miriam. Okay, Tiger Bed says, yay, present ako Sir Jess. Welcome to the live stream. Madaming natutunan sa inyo, sir. Hindi lang panay barjak ko lan ni ganito at ni ganyan. Favorite ko kayo ni Tita Lavinia at si Hey Adam. Saudi Salen says, from the very outset pala, parang naging greed na ang norm ng pageant na yun when it comes to sponsors. Just my 2 cents. Hindi ko na lang pangangalanan kung sino yung tinutukoy mo, Saldi. But I think everybody knows which pageant system is that. Art Laurent says, Alice Dixon and Charlene Gonzalez should be invited as hosts. I agree. Si Alice still maintains that glow, that very binibining Pilipinas, that showbiz glow. Same with Charlene. And nagbabalik si Charlene sa television this year. So who knows, baka maybe next year, we might see Charlene in the rotation for the Binibining Pilipinas hosts. Okay, sabi ni Travel Junkie, sir, most pageant fanatics already knew Jojo also owns Mary Queen. Okay? Basta hindi nang galing sa akin, walang problema. If that is, the common knowledge ng mga fans, I will leave you with that. Basta ako, ayokong mademanda for splukerage. Okay? Ben Hernandez says, hindi kaya si MJ Lastimosa rin ang gumagawa ng mga memes niya? If so, it's very clever mo ha. Dansam says, basta si Arnel Palmera is the CEO of Mary Queen, end of discussion. Yon. Hanggang doon na lang, no need to expound the conversation on that. Sabi ni Ben Hernandez, at Vanessa Dancel, iiyak-iyak at nga ngayon ang mga BBCI bashers. Ha 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 ha. Okay, Papa Turan says, ang tahimik na ni Sir Hines now na siya as active ata now sa BBP. Papa Turan, Sir Hines is very much active with Binibining Pilipinas. He is part of the Execom now. And there is something that he is trying to do na hindi ko pwedeng ispluk pa. But if ma-achieve niya yon, magawa niya ng paraan na ilagay ang Binibining Pilipinas on a bigger map for a certain achievement na nangyari nung finals. My God, pag-uusapan ulit ang Binibining Pilipinas. Okay? So, I do hope na that project, that project that he's working on, that he will try to achieve, it flies. Kasi hindi lang Pilipinas yung makikinabang, but buong mundo yung makaka-recognize sa atin. Okay? So I'm excited for that. Now, let's close na yung ating yung ating poll. Let's end yung ating and yung ating polls, and let's see the total, na percentages ng inyong mga votes. Okay. The question was, which pageant in the Philippines, which national pageant in the Philippines do you consider the best this 2024 season? And Binibining Pilipinas gets the lion's share of the votes with 82%. Binibining Pilipinas really cemented their supremacy this year, that it's no longer a question on who is the most prestigious national pageant. I think tahimik na, because of this edition, natahimik lahat ng mga tao, natahimik lahat ng mga critics, natahimik lahat ng mga bashers, ng mga trolls, because of what Binibining Pilipinas has achieved this year. If you combine all of the percentages of the other national pageant system, you get 16%. Okay? 16% na pinaghahati-hatian ng NUPH, MWPH, and ng Miss Philippines Earth. Compared to the 82% of Binibining Pilipinas, tells us which really is the pageant that tinatangkilik ng masa, tinatangkilik ng Pilipinas. Okay? So, it's never, a question which one is the supreme leader in terms of the Binibining Pilipinas pageant, and I do hope that itong conversation na ito sarado na. Na yung mga bashers ng Binibining Pilipinas manahimik na dahil hindi kayang tapatan ng kahit na anong pageant system yung perang inilabas ng Binibining Pilipinas this year to mount their pageant. You can see the level of guests, the nostalgia, the modernity that the pageant shown, the kind of extravagance that only Binibining Pilipinas was able to pull off compared to other national pageant systems. At wala kang narinig na kahit na anong major scandal na hindi nabayaran na sponsor, hindi hindi nabigyan ng importansya ang mga candidates, na hindi nagkaroon ng enough exposure yung mga yung mga sponsors during their finals, dahil the sponsors, the mere fact that they are given a platform at the telecast, the television broadcast of the pageant, tells you that kind of national exposure is not something to scoff at. Malaki yung malaki yung monetary value na natipid ng mga sponsors nila because of the airtime that Binibining Pilipinas bought on this multiple different national syndicated na mga television stations. Okay? So, tama si Dansam that it's not even close yung layo at pagitan ng Binibining Pilipinas with its nearest competitor, which is NUPH, that only gathered 12% of your votes in this evening's poll. Okay, so thank you very much to everyone who joined in our live stream this evening. Before we leave, please do leave a thumbs up dun sa ating live stream episode this evening. I am very grateful for everyone who has been here. I scheduled this a little bit later because may mga stuff tayong ginawa earlier today and in preparation for our coverage for the Hiyasang Pilipinas na press con for tomorrow. Okay? So, thank you very much for everyone. I hope na yung mga team replay would know that you are still appreciated kahit na team replay kayo at hindi kayo nakadalo sa ating live. What matters to us is that you continuously support our channel and continuously help us grow the channel. So thank you very much for the love, the support, and the trust that you've given us. And we will endeavor that in the upcoming international pageant season, we give you something that is more cerebral, something that is more mind-enriching for our coverages for the international pageant season that will probably start somewhere around September of this year. So thank you very much. Antabayanin nyo yan. Marami kaming in-store na mga ideas ni Mark Sobrajahani for our international na pageant season na coverage, and I do hope na subaybayan nyo yung ating coverages. Okay? So good evening to everyone. I do hope na you enjoy the remaining of this weekend, and please do stay safe. It's still tag-ulan, and I do hope that we all stay safe and dry in this rainy season. Okay? See you again in our next live stream, and do take care. Bye everyone.